be
Yeah,
a very
yeah.
boring experience.
And stay
And
off those devices. If you want ways for them to stay off devices, you want to come to Rhimamory. Rhimamory, rather.
absolutely. So yeah, provide resources that engages everyone, and they don't have to be on devices from morning till night. And we know that is a particular concern with a lot of our parents, because we get
Yep.
that a lot. Like, oh my child is always on my phone. My child is always on the iPad or whatever. So
Mhm.
we have to be creative and think of other ways to get children to engage and learn without necessarily being on in front of a screen all day.
Yep.
So that's part of what we're going to talk about. But first of all, I want to introduce
Yeah.
my guest properly. I'm going to give her a big introduction, and then she can fill in the gaps if there are any gaps. So this is
Yeah.
Okafor, or as I like to
Mm-hmm.
call her, Okafor. She
Yeah.
is she's an IT professional. One of the many things that she has under her, should I say, means that she's an IT professional with over 14 years experience, 14 years.
Yep.
And
Mm-hmm.
she is a wife, a mom.
Sure. That's my number one job.
Number
Right?
one job, four children, four lovely children. She also is an entrepreneur, so she has a business. So honestly, we
That hustle
get
is real.
cereal, as in, so we get her PJs, and they are just awesome. So if you're
Thank
looking for
you.
kiddies pajamas, you need to check out Mandy's. I'm gonna, tag all the clothes. And also
MAA,
her
two
brand.
A, two D. Yeah.
And she is the co-founder of the Digital Parenting School. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
have I covered the main bases?
You forgot this one.
Oh, excuse me. And she is
That's
also
the
an
icing
author,
on the
a
cake.
published author for that matter, of a very, very wonderful, incredibly smart. Yes, someone says she's
Oh,
incredibly
thank
smart.
you.
Yes, and so she's also the author of an amazing book, Parenting with the Father, a collection of
Thank you.
prayers for parents who just want to, guide their children and just do this whole parenting journey, not alone, but with God. So that's one of these. And she's a mother to another published author as well. So she has so many hats. But today we're
Yeah.
going to be talking about her the digital parenting aspect, her IT.
Yeah.
She's so IT savvy,
Mm-hmm.
so she's gonna talk to us about that. So thank you everyone for joining. We really, really, really appreciate the fact that you're taking this time out on a Friday
Thank
evening. We don't
you.
take that for granted. We're not going to waste your time. We're going to jump straight into it. We have just an hour, so
Thank you.
let's go. Please tell us a bit more about yourself. Anything I've left
Okay.
out?
Well, I'm just going to give you a very short version. I don't like, well, you've said a lot. So I'm just going to just elaborate. Yes, I'm an IT professional. I have over 14 years, different certifications, different job experiences. But one thing I've realized is that I also have a passion, you can call it a vocation, for parenting, for ensuring that the children we're raising today become holistic, worthwhile, independent, well-rounded individuals of tomorrow. And we complain about the world we live in. A lot of us complain about the world we live in. We don't like this. We wish this was that, which was that. But the fact of the matter is, if we don't play our part and do something about it now, first of all, what we're experiencing won't stop. Secondly, we're ensuring that the next generation will probably even have it worse. So after a lot of mind searching, a lot of trying to decide, okay, I have to do this, I decided, well, God decided, because trust me, the way all of this started was very interesting. I've always been very interested in parenting. My friends will tell you that I always talk about parenting. I always have one advice. My friends also say my advice are usually out of the box. Well, I don't know. But everyone has nagged that I needed to do something properly about this parenting thing because they liked what I had to say. and I felt I had to say to others. And from COVID, there was a whole lot of soul searching, a whole lot of diversification from just plain 9 to 5. And I was finally ready to take up this vocation that has been in my spirit for so long. And because we're in a digital era and I am an IT person, it wasn't just a situation of just taking up parenting. I'm also passionate about my IT. That's my first love. And I'm passionate about things relating to God. So I decided I would tackle it on both fronts. I mean, if you're going to do it, go big. So I have a co-partner. She's actually here. Hi, Dr. Jules. So Dr. Jules and I have partnered to give you the Digital Parenting School. And what it is it's a space where you will get free resources, tips about digital parenting, and you get to actually go into our link in bio and you can ask questions and get responses. About 2 weeks ago, we had a workshop. It was a free workshop, and we actually did live demonstrations on how to do parental controls, how to really install them. So we did it in the workshop. This was not, you can do this, you can do that. No, we actually demonstrated to the participants how to set up their Apple screen time, how to set up their Microsoft Family Safety, how to set up their Google Family Link, and which of these you should use and which one goes with which device. That was a free class. Unfortunately, recordings are not available to non-registrants. However, you better want to follow the Digital Parenting School now, because we'll be releasing something before the end of the month. And trust me, it's worth your while as a parent. Now that I've described what Digital Parenting School is all about, you want to head on there, you want to go into the link in bio, you want to also click on free resources where you'll see things like different slides and templates that could give you more information about digital parenting. And if you want to also join our mailing list so that whenever we release stuff or we send out messages, you get them. And if you also have a question, please send the question there. We are parents. Dr. Jules is a mom of 3. So we're both, and she's a medical doctor, like she's Dr. MD. So she knows what she's talking about when we talk about the softer side of digital parenting, how it affects the mind, how it affects health. And we're giving you holistic solution and resources to help you along this journey. Now, what exactly is digital parenting? Because I'm assuming here that people know, but just in case, if you have a child who is using any device, tablet, your phone, all those pads that they play with, you are a digital parent. I would even say that if you're already a parent in 21st century, you are a digital parent. You're automatically a digital parent. Mm-hmm. And the problem is, once you are a digital parent, it means that you have to understand the world in which your child is operating in. And the analogy I keep using is, it's like you're living in Ikoyi and you're sending your child to Mushin and you're telling yourself, look, I can't deal with all this Mushi thing. It's overwhelming. I don't want to know about it. But you have told your child, since your friends are in Mushin, go to Mushin. I mean, no parent in their right mind will do that, right? But we're giving our children devices every day and we're telling ourselves, I don't do Instagram. This thing is too overwhelming. I don't want to know. But that's what so if you're doing that, that's already what you're doing. You're letting your child play in a world that is bigger than the physical world, that has its own rules, has its own dangers, has a lot of advantage, by the way, but it has its own dangers, has its own rules. And you're refusing to engage. Or you engage and tell yourself, it's not a big deal. Again, even if you know the way to Mushin and you're in Mushin and your child is in another person's street in Mushin unaccompanied, is not a big deal. Like, really? How? So, what we parents need to do as digital parents is we need to start getting educated. Absolutely. Fortunately for us, there's a lot of free resources out there. Fortunately for us, if you have a phone that is, and you have internet, then you have access to Google, right? Google is literally a parent's best friend. You can find out a lot of stuff there without paying anybody. Also, you need to understand that there's a whole learning curve to it. We were born in a transitional era. You can argue with yourself whether that is painful or sad or is an advantage, but the fact is you are here. Your children are here. So you can either be arguing about whether it's fair or not, or you can get knowledgeable and be in the driver's seat as to how to guide and parent your child in the digital world. So that's what digital parenting is all about. In a summary, that's what digital parenting school would do for you. I would like this to be as interactive as possible. So if you don't mind, if anyone has questions, they can put them in the chat box. And if you have more questions, I'm here to answer.
Well, thank you. Thank you for summarizing that so nicely for us.
Thank you.
So, very quickly, digital parenting. Why should I care? Why should I care? I mean, really, what are the dangers? What harm? Is there any need? Is there really a need? What would you say to anyone that would ask you that?
Well, the first thing I would say is before we start talking about dangers, let's talk about the needs. We are in the 21st century. Your child will operate in this century in line with the rules of this century. Technology is the name of the day. So it is very likely that when your child gets a job or runs a business or does any adulting thing, they will have to transact using technology. That being said, you need to equip your child to use that technology, to tap all the resources it can get from that technology. But the problem is, to get to that technology, your child is going to have to engage in an environment where there's a lot of danger, potential danger. There's also a lot of information overload. And there's also a lot of rules that you need to abide with so that it doesn't become a disadvantage. So for example, screen time, something as simple as your child is using a device and they are keeping safe, they are not engaging in any of the dangers, the pornographies, the fraudsters, but they are spending 10 hours a day because that's the only way you can have peace. You see, the problem is you are now introducing your child to another salient danger. It's addiction. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Addiction.
Absolutely. Yes.
Dr. Jules has a radio show that she does every 9 a.m. on Law FM on Saturdays. And she talks about things like gambling addiction, internet addiction. Yeah. And we have people live who come in and actually tell their stories of how their lives have been ruined by these addictions. So when parents are saying that they are trading, they are trying to buy their comfort by giving their children devices to keep them busy. The first danger is they are giving them a bad habit that they are going to have to probably seek counseling for, if possible, later in life to restore. So why do you want to give your child that baggage in the first place? Secondly, we're talking of damage to even just your eyes. Most of us are wearing glasses. Exactly. Most of us are wearing glasses now because we spent a lot of time from COVID and post-COVID on the screen, and we were not mindful of what that did to our eyes. Now imagine your young child starting from that young age. By the time they're in their mid-20s, their eyes are not what it should be anymore. We're also talking about the fact that your child is now going to engage with people with different backgrounds, different trainings, different, exposures. And they're children. Let's not forget, a child is a child. Science will tell you that the human brain is not fully developed until you're 25, like 25. So sit back, think about yourself before you were 25 and all the very interesting things you did. Then think about if they gave you a device to record it sometimes, or think about if someone was recording you and it never goes away. That is what our children are dealing with. So think of all those things you did and when you thought no one was looking, and imagine that someone was recording and it's there forever. You will now realize that that's the pressure your children are facing. So they need to be guided. Children of this generation, part of digital parenting, for example, is teaching your children personal branding. Once your child is online in any way, then they need to be concerned about what they're putting out there, how they look, how they speak, how they type or communicate. So your child is already dealing with personal branding before they're even ready to engage in those terms. You're talking about citizenship. You're talking about empathy, because it's not every time they see something that they have to have an opinion that they should document out there. If someone is doing something because even we adults, we have to be careful where we comment, how we comment, to what extent we comment or share our views, because that we have a view does not mean it's a view that is ready for the public or that it is the right environment to share your views. So if your child is online and they are in social media in any form, you're supposed to be teaching them things like that. I'm not going to discuss today what the right age for mobile phone social media is. All I would say is two things. For social media, there's a reason that there's an age limit for social media. The age limit for most of it is 13. Now, be aware, there is something called COPA law. Now, that's COPA. It's an international law that tells every social media platform that they are not allowed to take the information of a minor, that's anyone who's 13 and below, without their consent. So what is the work around it? Allow them join after they are 13. So you see, they're not doing this because they feel that 13 is a good age for your child to be online or that they can handle it. They are simply protecting themselves, legally. But so you as a parent will say, but they said the age consent is 13. Is your child emotionally ready for that platform? Are you engaging in that platform to be sure that you know that your child is ready to engage? If you want your child to transact in any platform, please sign on to that platform. You don't need to comment, but sign on, know what that platform is all about. Go online, ask questions. Yes, understand it, be there, and then, after a while, if you're sure that you have equipped your child adequately, and your child gives you that level of trust, then perhaps you want to allow them on the platform. Again, not before the age of 13 for any circumstance. Then if it's for mobile device, again, it's back to trust.
Okay, I think.
Okay, so sorry about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here. So sorry. So do you have tech values for your home? Consistently. Sorry about this. There's I'm using my phone and the call keeps coming in. Note to self, don't use phone for Instagram Live. So
tell them that you're Instagram Live. Carry on, you were saying.
Yeah. So if you have such rules for your house or your home rather, and your child is consistently keeping to those rules, then you want to start scaling them up, ensuring that you still have that level of trust. Then you can begin to consider if they are ready mentally, morally, and physically ready for mobile device. Most parents give mobile devices because, I need to be able to reach my children. Their friends have it.
Someone is desperately trying to reach Ife at this point in time. Okay, just to cover what she was talking about. 13 is a good age, technically, at least by law. But before you hand over that device, you have to make sure that your child understands what exactly is going on, that you understand the platforms that your child is going to visit, and not just hand it over to them and hope for the best. She equated to like sending your child to a totally different area and hoping that the child can figure out what to do. Also, when she gets back, and that's hopefully quite soon, we will be
sorry about that.
That's okay. A call came in again.
Yeah.
Okay. No problem. Yeah. So I was just like recapping what you were saying, that even though 13 is the legal age, it doesn't necessarily mean that is the best age. You need to assess it. You need to assess the situation. You need to assess your child. You need to be ready. You need to prepare yourself as well to understand what your child is going to be with the site your child is going to go on. You have to do this with them. It's not just about handing over the phone. You're 13, go off and explore. There's so many advantages to the internet and social media, and there are also a lot of dangers, and it's like anything in life. And so it's just quite important that you balance it out. So you're back. Let me give it back to you. Oh no, please don't tell me she's frozen again. Oh, she's frozen again.
Sorry, I'm back for good now. I'm sorted. So sorry.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
So you've told us about digital parenting. So can you tell us some of the ways we can keep our children safe online? Because this is a very, very major concern for so many parents.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there's so many predators online just looking for children. And, you know, we can't be with them all the time. And if there's one thing, like you said, when everybody does stuff when they're young that, you know, we would hope that, you know, wouldn't come to light. And so the idea is to, you know, help our children avoid such situations. What are the ways that, is it possible? Can we even keep them safe online? Is it a fallacy? Is it possible at all?
Yeah, it is safe. It is possible to keep them safe online, but I would say something ahead of time. Just like your parents tried to keep you safe, tried to do everything they could, I am very sure that everyone on this call took one or two risks that our parents couldn't help. So the first thing you're going to know today is whatever you do, try as much as you can. Always remember that your children are still children. They will make mistakes. What we're hoping for is that you've equipped them enough so that whatever mistakes they are making are minimal, negligible mistakes and not, you know, life-damaging mistakes, because that's what social media can do to you.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to understand what I mean, remember the poor Christian girl.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I would sound like I'm not blaming her. She has some blame, but there's a whole lot of things that I can't discuss. If I go into that, we're going to be here for this call, but there were a lot of wrong steps that led to that particular incident. But that can be any child. You guys need to understand that every school in this world, every school in Lagos, Nigeria, Enugu, everywhere you know in Nigeria is dealing with this on a weekly basis. I have it on fact. There's a lot of damage control happening by parents. There's a lot of counseling happening in schools. So when you see those things online, it's because there were a lot of things that happened along the way that led to that. Now, what can you as a parent do? The first thing you want to really do is to begin to have conversations with your children. Nope, the first thing is not to go and start putting down controls. That's the second thing. The first and very important thing is to sit and have conversations with your children. You need to discuss your whys. You need to discuss your fears. You need to get their buy-in. Let them understand that this is for their own good. It may not be comfortable, it may not be trendy, but it is for their safety. If you don't get your child's buy-in when you start to put in certain control measures or monitoring measures, let me tell you what's going to happen fast. They will simply collaborate with their fellow children and they will bypass whatever you have done. See, let me tell you one thing now. Every parent is doing parenting, digital parenting against a group, a clan of children that are ready to support each other. So when you say no social media, oh, please open this account for me with this account name, with this done. Parental controls, oh, have you tried this? Have you tried that? So the easiest and the safest way is to actually get your child's buy-in. So that when you now begin to put parental controls, it's not a forceful thing. It's more like, okay, it's bedtime. It's like a reminder. It's like a trigger, not a slam door. You get?
Okay.
So the second thing is to use your parental controls. Why do you need to use parental controls? Because everyone will experiment. Everyone will make mistakes. You also don't want to be having those negotiations at the times when you don't expect your children to be using their devices. We're in back to school. We've had 2-3 months of long holiday. Everyone has been on their device, on their PS4. And now mommies and daddies are sweating to get their children back in bed at regular times, to get their children back to their books, because they are literally weaning them off these devices. An easy way to do that is I'm going to put the name down of three very common free parental controls in this conversation because I can't unfortunately tell you how to set them up. It's too short a call, but you can get all your resources from Digital Parenting School. You can also check Google and you can get, set up. So the first one is Microsoft Family Safety. If your child is using a Windows device, if your child is using Microsoft Word, Excel, all those things, which a lot of schools use, then you want to use Microsoft Family Safety. The second one is Google Family Link. Now, Google Family Link handles all your YouTube, Google Chrome, Google anything. Once you're using any Google app or anything related to Google, Google Chrome will handle that. But I will say one caveat. Once your child is 13 and above, if they know what they are doing, they are legally allowed to bypass your controls. That is a Google setting. So you have to weigh all these options. Again, conversations, no force.
Conversations.
Yeah. Then the third one is Apple Screen Time. So Apple Screen Time will handle all your Apple devices from your MacBook to your iPad to your iPhones. And it's not an app. You just need to go to your settings, look for Screen Time, and then you need to do all the settings from there. The other two are web platforms or web apps or mobile apps, and then you can control the devices when you've invited your children into them. Those will allow you set things like screen time and availability time. So what's the difference? Screen time means that, oh, my child can use the screen for 3 hours. Now for Google and for Microsoft, in fact for Apple actually, whatever time you allocate to that child's profile, whether they are using 5 devices or 10 devices, it will coagulate all that time together. So if you say your child can only use 3 hours, it will use 30 minutes on that device, 20 minutes on that device. Once your 3 hours is up, the devices, your account will not even be able to access anything. It's rude like that. Like, it won't just allow you. Oh, yeah. And then if it's availability, or for Google users, it will tell you bedtime. You can set when the device should shut down for the day and when the device should start up for the day. And no Jupiter except powerful digital mommy and daddies can turn on those devices or give bonus time. Like you will just, yeah. So when it's bedtime, the device will go to bed. And when the device goes to bed, your child will go to bed. No negotiations, no, and if it's a school night or if your child is old enough to use their device for studies and they need extra time, those 3 apps are flexible enough for you to give them increments of time. Some do 15, 30, 1 hour, 2 hours, depending on what amount. So it gives you a lot of control, gives you a lot of flexibility at the same time. You can even go to the nitty gritty and say, okay, you know what? My child needs their device for all sorts of things. I won't put any time monitoring. But you see that Instagram, that's the bane of my child's existence. Okay, I'm going to monitor Instagram. So you can put a time lock or a block on the apps. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. And we demonstrated all of that in our workshop. So you can leave the device open, but you can monitor just the apps. So it's a combination of different things. Okay, I give my child 6 hours time, but I want only 1 hour of TikTok. You have that level of control. Yeah.
That is so interesting. That is so interesting.
Yeah. And these are free. These are free apps. So these are things that you can do, to ease that journey. And then again, conversations. The last thing the other thing you need to do, which is actually the most important, and I'm going to shatter a table here that I am also on, is lead by example.
Oh,
so if you're telling if you're telling your child that they are not going to bed with their device, and you are in bed watching that with your device, well,
it's.
I mean, yeah.
It's a recipe for disaster, really.
Exactly. So it might not be as easy. I would help parents out here. It might not be as easy, but so for what I do in my home is we have a tech plan in every room, and parents are allowed to use their devices. But what we do to compensate is we have tech-free zones. So the dining table is a tech-free zone. Once we're having lunch, dinner, anything, no phones. We have tech-free days that come in once in a month. So while our children understand that because of the nature of what we do, we have to have our devices on, till late. They know that we deliberately bring out time to be with them without any tech. Now, the
Okay.
thing is, before you start saying tech-free zone, tech-free time, dear parents, make sure you have things to engage them. You're going to have to replace. You're not just yanking off something and then leaving them to stay into space.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have at dinner time, come up with one or two conversation starters. Have conversations, keep it interesting, so that they are able to enjoy dinner without remembering that their phones are not there. Of course, it will be difficult if your child is already doing that to win them off it, but keep at it. It's all for good in the long run. And guess what? If you get your child to do that, that's one less thing that they have to, they don't have to worry about when they are older. And then the other thing is, if you say no screen, no tech days, you need to make it fun. Build the hype up to that day. Oh, we're going to have an indoor picnic. We're going to make all the food by ourselves and we're going to spread it. Hype up that day so that they're looking forward to that bonding time with mom or dad or both.
Yeah.
And they're not fixated on, oh, it's a day that I'm not going to have my device. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So things like that.
This is a generation that does not, we were kind of brought up with do as I say, with no explanation.
Exactly.
Why? Why do I have to do that? Why? In fact, they question everything. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
Gender, they question
Mm-hmm.
everything. So you have to have suitable alternatives and have those conversations and just get their buy-in so that it's not a battle, it's not a fight.
Exactly.
I mean, we've got a comment here and from the lovely Shalabi,
Mm-hmm.
and she says, lead by example. My 6-year-old will tell me, Mommy, screen time is over. Why do you still have your phone on Instagram? And he's 6.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
6. So yeah, totally get that. This is a generation that you actually have to engage with. It's not business as usual. It's business totally. In fact, it's not even business. It's something totally different. So
No. So I tell people that our parents were taught to follow the crowd, do what everyone is doing, be in the box. In our generation, they were saying, think outside the box. They were getting comfortable with it. This generation, no box.
Box.
Box does not exist.
There is no box. Yeah.
No, there is no box. They are fluid thinkers. They have all the information at their fingertips, unlike we who had to go searching. So it gives them that level of confidence to question things because all they have to do is go to Google and check. So you're not dealing with a child who's on a very steep learning curve. They already know that everything they need to know is on Google. Now, whether Google provides context is another matter entirely. But as far as the child is concerned, they have answers.
For good or for bad?
Oh, yes. And Digital Parenting School has put the names of the different tools in the chat. So if you missed it, just check the chat and you will find that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, look, if you just joined, you have missed the magic trick of the century where you're just sitting there and all the devices go off at the same time. So there's no battle, there's nothing, it's non-negotiable, everything goes off, it's like magic. But we will be doing like a little summary, and of course the replay will be there for anyone to catch up and see what we're talking about. But these are some of the ways in which you can control, the amount of access, So someone says, I need this, please. Oh, you came late. Okay, we'll see.
We'll
hook you up. Don't worry.
Head on to Digital Parenting School. Yes, and then we'll take you from there.
Absolutely. So, Ife here is a co-founder with the lovely Dr. Jules. They are both co-founders of the Digital Parenting School. And if you head on over there, I think she needs to know how to switch them up magically. Yes, honestly.
Head on to Digital Parenting School. We got the magic.
Digital Parenting School and find out how you can switch up all the devices at the same time. The device can be on, but you can limit access to a particular app, or not just totally like no access, but they can have an hour or two of Instagram or TikTok or whatever. And now next thing for older children. We know a lot of parents are incredibly worried, like you mentioned the Chrisland incident. Is it possible to track what they're doing, to monitor what they're doing? you know, like their chats and everything. I know there must be some sneaky ways around it. Is it
Yes,
possible?
yes, technically it's possible. Most of the apps that can do that are paid apps.
Okay.
I won't begin to name any of the apps right now because you see, there's also a thin line between privacy and yes, dear African parents, your children are entitled to privacy.
Okay.
There's a thin line between respecting privacy and trying to help. So some other apps also, what they do is they kind of sprout through your child's social media accounts and all they do. And they
Okay.
would let you know when any of the typical trigger words or any words that you've programmed is flagged in any conversation. So they
Okay.
won't give you all their charts of their content, but whenever there's anything that they think you should be alerted to based on the settings you've provided, then they will send that to you. I don't have the names of some of those apps readily because for me, I prefer to go the route of, you know, getting them to want to
Conversation.
do this for
Yes.
themselves. Conversations. Because
Yes.
guess what? Your child is not going to be with you always. Your
Absolutely.
18-year-old child, I mean, as a parent, okay, I'm going to also break another African table. As a parent, you have no business monitoring your 18-year-old child's whatever.
Mm-hmm.
By that point, you are giving yourselves mutual respect. That being said, if they're in your house, in
Mm-hmm.
your room, or eating your food, then you
Yeah.
can monitor your house and tell them what time to come home and all of that. But for device, mm-mm. If
Mm.
you're still monitoring your 17, 18-year-old closely, then something has gone wrong somewhere. By that
I,
time, if you've done the job,
yes.
okay, what about 10 to 16?
10
So,
to
like we said
16.
earlier, your child has no business on social media before they are 13, legally. And the reason is because there is an international law that does not allow social media profiles of anybody under the age of 13 to be copied, any information of anyone under the age of 13 to be copied. It also means that if your child is under 13 and they're on social media, they have committed internet fraud by faking their age. That is a crime, by the way. Forget that we live in Nigeria. Forget that they get away with it. If that account is found wanting in anything, there will be other issues bigger than whatever they did because of the false age. Yes, thank you, Digital Parenting School. That is called the COPA law. So from 10 to 13, please, let's not even discuss that. They are not supposed to be there in the first place. So you're dealing with the 13, 14, you're dealing with 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Those are the critical ages. The teenagers, their hormones are raging, they are trying to test boundaries. First of all, there's no rule that says that once your child is 13 years and one day, take a device.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Your child
Yes.
is not ready. You need to be able to have those conversations and explain to your child why you think they are not ready. And as a parent, you can't just wake up one morning like our parents did and say, you can't look at a boy, you can't do this. And then one morning they say, when are you getting married? That's the digital version of what you're doing. You can't wake up and say, know this, know that, know this. And then one day you say, okay, take iPhone 14. Like,
Bye.
how?
How?
Bye.
How?
How? Like, how? You're supposed to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
Great, graduate it. Let them be online. Allow them to do certain things online, but not on a mobile phone. Allow them, if they are online, watch all those things. Exactly, ghost husband. So it's same thing, ghost social media, you know. you want so you have to really be deliberate about these things. You have to really gauge all those things. Scale it up, earn their trust, let them earn your trust, and then when you are comfortable to know that your child is doing what is right, allow them have their account. But I personally say, keep their login details at least until they're 18, so that if it gets so bad, you can jump in there and take control of the situation. At least you have the login details to be able to take control. Parents, do not abuse your children's trust. It's a two-way street. Do not abuse their right to privacy, because guess what? When you abuse your child's right to privacy, they will think that's normal and they will abuse another person's right to privacy.
I think
Yeah.
to summarize, to like summarize what you said, I would say what you're saying is approach the parenting aspect first before you worry about the digital aspect.
Yes.
Focus on parenting. Focus on having
Mm-hmm.
that relationship. Focus on
Mm-hmm.
showing them the right way. Focus on them,
Mm-hmm.
knowing
Mm-hmm.
what to do, even when you're not there. Otherwise,
Exactly.
like you said, if you're still closely monitoring your 18, 20-year-old, religiously, then something isn't right somewhere. So at this point,
Yeah.
you have those conversations and let them know about the potential dangers, let them know about the world that they're going into, the world that they want to explore, and how to navigate it safely. I think then
Yeah.
in all aspects,
Yeah.
not just even the digital, I mean
Yeah.
school,
That's the
everything.
thing.
And
People
then you
don't
can focus on
understand
the
that the
digital
same rules that
aspect.
apply in the real life apply even more so in the digital. So those digital tools are tools, not
Absolutely.
the replacement. You understand? So if it's for studies, you need to study, but the digital tools help you study better. They are not the replacement. So you need to, everything that you do digitally is an enhancement of
Okay.
whatever is going on physically. So if it's negative, it's extra. If it's positive, it's extra. So you need to get your parenting game on point, more
Absolutely.
so when you are now doing digital parenting.
So we have a question here. What is your take on online gaming?
Gaming, Roblox, I saw that.
Yes. What would you say to that?
So, again, what is your child's
Seven.
age
Ooh,
limit?
seven.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So the thing is, Roblox, I don't remember the age limit, but I know it's quite low because it allows a lot of children go on there. Parents always respect age limits. In fact,
okay.
what it is the age limit is the absolute bottom. And if you're still not comfortable, extend the age. So what do I mean? If your age limit for any platform is say 10, don't put your child on that platform before 10. You are even allowed to extend it to about 11, 12 until you're sure that that child can handle themselves. If your young children are using those platforms, I don't want to stick to just Roblox because you have PS5, you have Xbox, you have different things. Yeah, you need to also know where the parental controls are for those devices. Luckily for Xbox, it's tied to Microsoft Family Safety. So whatever you do on your Microsoft, that's for the Windows one, will automatically filter to the Xbox. But for PS5, for Roblox, well, there are many of them.
So many.
First of all,
Someone
parents
has
get
said about
educated.
Minecraft as well.
Yeah,
I said
that's why I said I'm not
Minecraft.
going to specify on any because if we start listing, there are tons. There's Fortnite. There's so many of them. First of all, find out what the age limit is. Once your child is not up to that age limit, please don't allow them be there. Forget trend. Your child will be all right. Let them have real friends. Leave them. Let them go outside and play. Channel those energies elsewhere. Secondly, if they are off the age limit, then put in the controls so that you're not negotiating. How much time do you want these children spending there? What do you want them to engage in chats? Because there's chat options there. They can chat. There's a well, it's not social media, but there's a social engagement platform on all of these things. If your child is still a bit young, you want them to turn that off. So there again, parents, you need to know about privacy and parental controls for all of these platforms. I'm not saying you should jump on everything today. Start small. Pick one, get it, get your child used to it or your children used to it, get comfortable with it, then layer up. But what you're supposed to be doing is have conversations with your children that, look, this is not in your interest. This is why it's not in your interest. This is not in line with our family values. We use tech for study. We use tech for empowerment. We don't use tech for passive screen time. Again, passive screen time is just mindless scrolling as opposed to active screen time, which is when you are learning or you're using it to, productively. You want to have those conversations and tell them that over the course of the next 3 to 6 months, we're going to be fine-tuning the boundaries so that we can help you help yourself. So that's how the conversation should go. And then you start to scale up as you go. Again, like I said, get in there. Parental controls for all those gaming platforms. If your child is below 10, but the gaming platform allows them, I think they should be careful of the chat platform. The rules, the general rule of thumb is do not add anyone as your friend that you do not know in real life. So if Tomiwa is your child's friend in class, then it's okay if Tomiwa is, playing Roblox with them. But if Brian from America is their friend, why? The question I always ask my children is, don't you have enough real friends?
There's just so many predators just wandering around, pretending to be kids on these sites, and before you know it, there are all sorts of other issues and private chats and sending inappropriate pictures and introducing them to things that ordinarily in real life you wouldn't let a grown man walk into your house and tell your child about this thing. So why would you allow that happen online? So
exactly.
My big sis,
and there's a salient point I wanted to make.
Help build cognition. The cognition, and the more complex the games, the more they. So yes, the games are not necessarily bad. They are quite good, but the only thing is how to just make sure your child navigates it safely and gets these benefits as opposed to some of the negative things that can happen. So I think what we're generally saying is that respect age limits. If for whatever reason you feel, I suppose you must, then please make sure that the parental controls are fully exercised, and just oversee and try, even as much as possible, try and see what's going on in there.
If you're trying to play Roblox, you want to know what Roblox is all about. You want to even play a game or two. That's a bonding moment, please. Like
absolutely.
They will trash you, but it's part of the fun.
Absolutely. You won't believe that we've gone almost 50 minutes in this conversation, and we've barely scratched the surface. So please, if you want to know more, like I said, my favorite bit of this conversation I've taken is how to switch off devices magically. That and implementing.
I always get experience, I know.
I love that. But yes, please, if you do want to know more, as I said, our wonderful speaker, Okafor, is the co-founder of Digital Parenting School. That is Digital Parenting School. I think it's been in all our posts.
It's there in the chat. Been engaging in the chat.
Absolutely, and she's even there. So please give them a follow, or they have free resources that can even help you explain and explore far more than we've discussed here. Obviously, this was just a very short time. Only so much we can discuss here, but yes, so far I've learned a lot, and I think it's just amazing what we can do with technology, and our children should be able to explore this and enjoy it as well. It's not the bad thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, it can be very
it's not.
thing. Like all things in life, you just have to make sure that it's handled properly. So
exactly. It's fantastic. Actually, it allows you to do a lot of stuff that. I mean, for us, we 9-to-5 moms, technology solves a whole lot of problems. It allows us being in many places at the same time. You just need to play by the rules so that you keep yourself and your family safe and healthy.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you. And yes, there will be a replay. And yes, all the information, I'm going to try and do a little summary. And please, like I said, if you do need to know more, she's Iffy, okay, 4.
Okay, 4.
Yeah, and the Digital Parenting School, will tell you even more. They just had a free workshop. So please, when there are resources like this just waiting to help you, jump on them, and you can see that there's so much knowledge there just waiting to be grabbed. So please just take advantage of this. Like you said, it's a totally different generation. There are no boxes. We were talking about it, that the previous generation, they prided themselves on being in the box thoroughly, and then we are thinking to ourselves, we're thinking outside the box. This generation, what is a box? I don't know. Is there a box? I can't see it anywhere.
The first question to ask me, what is a box?
I tell you, some of these kids, I kid you not, they're born and they already know how to operate phones. I don't know how that is happening. It's like there's, you're welcome.
DNA.
So, yes. So yeah, we need to work with that. Okay, so to wrap this up, I'm going to ask you about a few other things because she is multi-talented, multifaceted. It's not just about IT. She has just written a book, and it's called Parenting with the Father, and she's got it there. So I don't even think I can begin to do it justice. I'm going to let you talk about it the few minutes that we have left. If you tell us about Parenting with the Father.
Yeah, so while we were thinking about, like I said earlier, I'm very passionate about parenting, and holistic parenting. And because we're in the 21st century, we're tackling this from the digital perspective. But the fact of the matter is, as with marriage, parenting is supposed to be done in union with God. So what that means is the way you bring God into your marriage, you hold on to Him, you ensure that you ask Him for tolerance, for patience, to guide you, is exactly what you're supposed to be doing when you're parenting your children. Let's not forget, God created them. He has predestined them to do certain things. He has given them talents, and then He has given them to you to add your own flavor. That's like the highest honor ever for any human being. So first of all, you should be kneeling down and thanking God for that privilege to be able to add your own spice to what He has already done. Because whatever you do or not do will also shape the way that child will come out. That's a huge responsibility. It can be fearsome, it can be burdensome. Now, what we are trying to preach is, or what we are preaching is, well, not preaching from, like what we're saying is, every time you have the opportunity, seek God's counsel. Seek His counsel. Ask Him questions, and you don't have to book an appointment to sit with God. You don't have to wait for Sunday morning in church to unleash all your burdens or your questions about parenting to God. You are coming home from work, from business, you have to still do homework, you are tired. There's a chapter in my book that helps you just, put your thoughts together. God, I'm tired, but I need to be with these kids. I need strength. Guide me. Help me plan my time better so that I can bring out more time to be with my children effectively. So what it is it's 30 prayers, 30 chapters, one a day, and each one has a prayer on one end and a one-page guide that gives more beef to the prayer. So what that means is you've said the prayer to God, you've also read the Bible. Each prayer has a Bible verse at the bottom, and then we now have practical insights as to what steps you can take or things you need to think about to make what you have prayed about come to real life. So for me, it's short. I use the book myself. It's something I use practically. It's short. Parents are overwhelmed and overburdened. You don't want to be giving them something very lengthy to do. This is something you can do 10 minutes max, you're done. And your cup is filled. You have, been given a perspective to think about, and you have engaged with your God. I tell you from my own experience and from experience of people who have done this 30 days, it would open up a level of bonding with God the Father that you did not have before, because it's simple. It's bringing you, the parent, back to your childlike, state in presence of your own father, your own parent.
Awesome.
So that's my book.
Oh,
thank you.
Where can we get it?
Well, if you head onto my page at Ifyok4, if you click on my link, you can get it. You can send me a DM, or you can also get it on, if you're international, you can go to Amazon, and it's on Amazon everywhere globally. So you can get it as a paperback or hardcover on Amazon. In my DM or contacting me directly on my page. That's locally for those in Nigeria. Of course, if you're in Nigeria and you want to buy for someone in America or UK, please do. It makes great wedding anniversary gifts. It makes a great wedding present. It makes a great present for a parent who's having a naming ceremony. It makes baby showers, exactly.
Fantastic. To start the journey right. Yeah. So I actually praise for a few pages in my children. Fantastic. That's good to know. That's good to know. So
Thank you.
thank
Thank
you.
you, Vanessa.
Oh, absolutely. So thank you so much. From the comments, there's just been a lot of positivity. People are
Yeah.
learning so much. They've learned so much of what you've said. It's also very, very important. I just want to add that it's also very important to know that it's more than just
Thanks,
controls
Vanessa.
and all that. In terms of digital parenting, it's very important to provide good alternatives, activities,
Yeah.
non-screen related resources, which of course Rhimamory can help you with, and just
Yes.
bonding activities to provide a suitable replacement. I also want to just point out that we should sometimes not be afraid to let our children be bored. It is so important.
Yeah.
A little boredom never kills anyone. A little boredom can
It is in
actually
boredom.
stimulate creativity. A little boredom can make you
See.
think about, writing a book. When there's, a
Mm-hmm.
little boredom can make you read if you don't like reading. A little boredom can make you just think outside of our famous box that we've mentioned
Mm-hmm.
so many times.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, so please don't feel. I tell parents all the time, something I want something, I want something. I'm like, you are not CNN. You don't have to be on 24 hours. You don't have to entertain. You're not basket mouth. You are not a dictator. You're
Exactly.
not a robot that's just going to continue entertaining
Mm-hmm.
morning, afternoon, and night. Let that child be bored for a bit. Let them go outside. Let them discover the world. Let them, do other things. It doesn't necessarily have to be screen time. A lot of children are overly stimulated, and then by the time they get to school, they can't settle or they can't sleep. It's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Shanaka said it
Yeah.
perfectly. It's important that creativity is born. So yes, so
Yes.
please
That's a
don't
scientific
hesitate.
fact.
But sometimes our parents are so scared to like, oh, if I take this thing away from this child, what is the child going to do? Come on. The child was not born
My
with
child was
the
bored
tablet.
during COVID. She wrote a book that is
Ah,
selling right now.
yes, so do
Hello.
other things. Please don't be afraid to explore other activities for your child. Don't be so scared. If I take this thing away, this child will do. No, 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 no. That's not to punish them with hours of zero activity, but at the same time, don't feel obligated to be on 24/7. Even TVs go off at times. Yes,
So,
even
so,
TVs. So please,
even
and let
going
them
so
play.
another
Let them play.
person,
There's so many other things. What I love about
I,
some of the resources that we have
yeah,
here is that we get parents coming back and their kids are just. I mean, even Charlotte, I remember she sent a video of her kids in her creche and her summer camp. So,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
engaging in games, and
yeah,
you'd be surprised how into it they are, and they actually forget about the
mm-hmm,
whole screen. And
mm-hmm,
one thing we do say
mm-hmm,
is if the child if the screen is doing all the entertaining, all the educating, your child is not interacting in any way at all, then you
no.
need to
So they are
think
not even
twice about
developing their
it.
communication skills.
Absolutely, absolutely. We can talk about this for ages and ages. And maybe one day you're going to come back. I will have you back, and we can talk a bit more. But
I
I
was
just want to
glad.
say, oh, absolutely.
Oh, thank you,
Thank
Digital
you
Parenting
so
School.
much.
Yes.
And yes, Oakville School, written by Ife's daughter, who is a young lady. You won't believe that. This young lady has another young
Yeah.
lady, but yes, who is a young lady. And yes, please check it out. Check out the page, all the information. Yes, social interaction, communication, so very important. Absolutely, so very important. I can't even begin to emphasize how important it is. So please, 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 please. I'm going to put together a little summary, and obviously the replay will be up, and you can always go over
Thank
to
you.
Ife's page, Ife OK4,
Mm-hmm.
or the Digital Parenting School, and you can get more information, free resources, trainings, and all sorts of things to help you with this journey that you think that some people have it together, but we are all just learning. And what I'm
Yeah.
trying to do with Rhimamory Talks is just help us all learn together. So I hope
Mm-hmm.
you've enjoyed our very, very first edition. If I'm honored that you were my first guest, thank you
I'm honored
so
to be your first guest.
thank you, thank you, thank you. Digital parenting, Dr. Jules. One day we're going to have our own chat. We can't wait to have you. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so
Sure.
much. Have a good evening. We've gone a bit over time, but thank you for sticking with us till the end.
Thank
Um,
you.
love you. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful weekend. Ify, I will
And
speak to
you
you
too.
later.
All right.
Take care.
Bye, everyone. Thank you
Bye.
for staying with us for this evening. We really appreciate your time and your patience.
Absolutely. Thank you. Bye.